Hey, everybody. Welcome to the First South Financial Podcast, where you're banking with friends. Today, I'm talking with Penny Hensley, who's our Senior Vice President of Mortgage, and I'm Maria McLendon, Chief Marketing Officer for First South Financial. Penny, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Happy
to be here.
I'm excited to be here as well. Today, we're going to talk about the difference between renting versus buying and which is better.
Sure.
And I have a real-life question for you.
Okay.
So my oldest son is about to graduate from college.
Okay.
And he's excited about making his way in the world and figuring out what he's going to do next. And he's really wrestling with the question of whether he should rent or whether he should buy. And, you know, one of the things I think everyone across the country is facing is that housing is more expensive than it has ever been. And there's a lot of things that are going on in the economic environment. Right. So what advice should I be giving to my kiddo?
Well, tell me this. Does your son currently rent a home, or is he in a dorm or something?
He's in off-campus housing. But right now he's got 2 roommates. I mean, it's one of those college situations where depending on what time of the year it is, there might be more roommates or fewer roommates. And I will tell you,
sleeping on the couch.
They always prefer it when there's more roommates, right? Because that helps to cover the cost of the rent.
Absolutely. You know, and the reason I ask that question is because now I think that your son understands some of the pros and cons of renting a home. And it sounds like he's at the point in his life where he's ready to, you know, take that step and invest into something where he's building equity into an investment of his own. And I think, I think in his particular case, I think the best advice I could give your son would be come to First South Financial. And meet with one of our mortgage loan professionals and let them guide you. Let them talk to you about the home buying process and show you. They can kind of back into a payment and show you how much home you can afford based on your current income or your foreseeable income, whatever job he plans to have when he gets out of college, and his current debts. So they could tell him how much house he can afford so that he can think to himself, wow, that's, I can afford that. I can do that. I'm ready to take that step.
So speaking of that, that's actually a really good point. So he doesn't know what he's going to do once school is done, right? He's looking for jobs, and he's not limiting his search to any specific location. Right. So, I mean, that would play into the decision of whether or not to rent, right?
Yeah, that's huge because it depends on what part of the country he plans to live in, where he has to live. Maybe he becomes, some sort of city official, a fireman or something along those lines, and he has to live in a certain geographical area. So then he would want to know, what are the taxes in that area? Is it really expensive to live there? Can I afford to purchase a home at this time, or should I rent? As a mortgage professional, I want everyone to have a home. I think it's a true investment. And as a banker, of course, I'd love for you to make an investment, but buying a home isn't always for everyone. Sometimes renting is the thing to do. It's just based on the individual and their individual circumstances. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
I think when we moved to a different city, we moved to Dallas for a number of years. I mean, we rented for a good bit of time because we wanted to get it is the first time we lived in Dallas, so we wanted to get familiar with the area.
100%.
But absolutely, following what you're saying, we did want ownership in something. We did want to put our money to work for us in something that was going to increase in value. But until we found the right location, renting was the right thing for us to do.
Absolutely. And a lot of times, like your son just out of college, he may not have a lot of money for down payment and closing costs. So when you rent a home, a lot of times the cost to get into a rental situation is a lot less than purchasing a home. So again, it just goes back to that individual circumstance. When you're renting a home, one of the things that you can't do is you can't really. Some people like to customize. They come into a house and they see all the things that they can do to the home, and when you're renting, you're kind of limited to some of the changes that you can make in that home. So, again, a lot of times it's exciting when you can purchase a home and you can make those changes and make it your own place. I don't know where I'm going with that, but
Well,
I was just thinking like a woman.
No, but I think that does. I mean, I think that makes a ton of sense because I think that that's often a desire for people when they are renting. They want their own place because they want to put their own expression
right
in their home. They want that environment to feel like them.
Absolutely.
But like you said, sometimes it's the dollars and cents of it that make it a challenge. So talk to us a little bit about this. So if you're trying to make the decision of whether renting is better for you or buying is better for you, what kinds of things like benchmarks should you be thinking about in terms of finances?
Right. So, for example, when you go to purchase a home, you want to sit down with a mortgage professional. I think that's huge because they can take all the guesswork out of the home buying process. They can tell you, first of all, what type of loan is right for you. Do you have any savings at all? Do you need savings? So there are some programs out there based on wherever you're going to buy. If you're in Texas or if you're in Memphis, there are down payment assistance programs. So if you need help with that, there are programs where you could do 100% financing. So and then also you could have the seller, whenever you do a sales contract on the house, you could have the seller pay your closing costs so that you are getting into the home with little to no down payment or upfront costs. Now, there's always going to be some upfront costs, but those are some of the things to consider. Again, I think you need to sit down with a mortgage professional and learn, just learn the whole process. There's so much to it.
Yeah.
For like your son, he doesn't know he's going to get a job. Maybe he doesn't have that job for 90 days. There are rules around that.
Oh, yeah.
So, we can count that income, but you want to make sure you ask those questions. And then a lot of times your mortgage professional is going to be able to help you with the questions that you need to ask. Make sure you're asking your real estate agent and make sure you're getting these things as part of your sales contract when you do purchase a home.
So, if any of our viewers out there wanted to have a conversation with one of our mortgage professionals at First South, what kind of cost is associated with having that kind of conversation?
At First South Financial, we don't charge any application fee or any upfront fees. A lot of banks will charge you a credit report fee or to be able to pull your credit report so that they can see exactly how much you can afford. First South does not charge anything. It's a free consultation. So it's as easy as going to our website, picking a loan officer.
A very friendly process.
Yes, it's very friendly. You can, and there are a lot of people that just want to do everything online. They want to sit in their pajamas on their couch, sipping coffee, and you could do that from your couch. You can apply online, and a loan officer will call you and have that consultation with you for free.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
I do have one more question though too. So, is there a rule of thumb that if you're going to be in a location for a certain period of time or less than a certain period of time, one choice might be better than the other?
So yes, if you are going to be in an area where you come to Memphis and you know for sure that you're only going to live here for 2 years, okay, for sure you're moving, you already have it in your contract that you're moving, then you might look at an adjustable rate mortgage.
Oh, okay.
ARM loans have gotten a really bad rap during the recession because a lot of lenders were putting folks into ARM loans that were not suited for them. But when you speak to a true mortgage professional, like our licensed professionals at First South Financial, they can determine, okay, he's only going to be here for 2 years. Let's put him in an ARM loan because that rate is a lot lower than fixed rate mortgages right now. So yes, you could look at something along those lines to help with, because as we all know, rates are up a little bit. And so having that lower rate can help you with your monthly expenses.
So basically, it just sounds like the best way to go is to have a conversation with a professional who can kind of walk you through the process and really look at your individual needs,
right,
and really help you make the best decision for yourself, right?
Absolutely. Everyone's needs are different.
Well, perfect. So, how do people find us, Penny?
So you can go to our website at firstsouth.com and click on mortgages and choose a loan officer. All of their pretty pictures are there online, and you can choose a mortgage professional and apply today.
That's right. Come experience what it's like to be banking with friends with First South Financial. We hope that you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, and we, of course you did, like, subscribe, ring that bell. Make sure you engage with us as well. Fill out those comments. Let us know what you think, and let us know what else you'd like to hear about, because we'd love to share any kind of information that you're interested in. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks, Penny.
Thank you.
Bye.